These vending machines seem to be going down a tree. I'm really glad we put these in. I do think that they're really going to help us out with our guest needs. But you guys were saying we need to put them into work zones. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put this one into work zone 2. Oh, no, both of them. Oh, all of them should probably go in work zone 1 for the maintenance work zone. Because apparently they break down quite a lot. And I never really use these, so I don't know what to expect. But they do sound like a good shout, and it does really help us out. I'm actually going to have a look at our guest needs. Yeah, they're already much better. They could be higher, to be honest. People are still thirsty. I don't know whether we should put more in. Maybe we put a couple more in. Let's go, where are they? Guest facilities. If we turn all the blueprints off, it's much easier to find. And we can even filter by, like, drinks. Because they don't seem to be hungry. They just seem to be thirsty. And when we look, oh, our hunger need's only slightly higher. Well, maybe we put in like one more drink and one more food or something, and that might be good enough. So for drink, we've got a few options. Have we got all of them? Yeah, I think we do. I think we already have all of them. So let's put another Cosmic Cow and another Gulpy Energy. I just want to find like the worst point for thirst in the zoo. To be honest, where we were is a pretty poor one. They're getting use out of them. But maybe if we put some more further back, they wouldn't get that bad. Like maybe if we put another thing here, or even on the inside here. The thing is they've got facilities there. So what I'm gonna do, there's a talk that's here, so I don't want to block up the path too much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add more provision kind of around the zoo and see if that balances out, because I feel like people are going back having not had their needs met, and that might be why it's all on the main path where it's showing up. So let's put some more water and coffee. We have nothing in this area here. So let's put some stuff in here. We're going to have water and coffee right there because there's nothing in this zone. And then the same over here. When they get to this area over here, there's nothing. Let's put a milkshake and... Ooh, which side do we want it on, though? We've got the deer over here. I feel like that's fine. I'm going to put the milkshakes and the energy drinks here. And then it's not blocking the sign too much either, so they can still see that. And then we could add another milkshake. I think we've got those there. Let's add another water and coffee machine over here, and then these ones can all go in the maintenance work zone too, because they're in that zone. In fact, that's still number 1, but let's put these ones in number 2, and then the other one could be in number 1, and we've got our line drawn for where the zone ends. Hopefully that's not too much for our staff. If we have a look at our mechanics, we can see what they think. Yeah, it still says they've got an efficient workload. That one could be trained up as well. In fact, let's train up all of our staff to get everyone to the next level. And it looks like we've got a challenge alert. So we've bred 4 different exhibit species. Wow, okay. We probably have loads, actually. Yeah, here. My goodness. Well, I think let's just sell all of these. 12,000. That is crazy. Making loads of money. And hopefully these needs get met as we go on. It seems like we're doing an okay job, though. I'm trying to think where the nearest toilets are. There's toilets here, so we're going to need some more as we keep expanding out. But for now, I think I want to use this space here. There's like this empty space in the zoo, and I want to use it for the Amur Leopard. And these guys are critically endangered with only 110 estimated left in the wild, so they seriously need our help. We've got another challenge alert. I think that's just telling us the other ones we have. Let's think about getting these guys in here then. So if we look at their species data, it's just a male and a female. That's all we can have in a group. And they're actually solitary and live on their own, except when the mother's raising her cubs. So I think, like the rhinos here, we're going to need 2 separate habitats that we join up. But we can definitely do that. They're also neutral with humans, so they're not shy of them. That's good to know. And if we look on here, it looks like each of these habitats is going to need to be 705 meters squared plus 45, so 750 really, but it's 705 meters squared of land, and then we need 45 meters squared of climbing in that space. And we need grade 3 climb proof taller than 3 meter barriers. So I do kind of want to make them climb proof, the barriers we have. And we're not going to be able to use the wooden ones we've got here. I'm thinking mud is probably relatively climb proof. If it's just a mud wall, that might be the most eco-friendly thing we have. And it does still tie in with these areas over here, even though it is the Africa section. And these guys are from Asia, I believe. Yeah, Russia and China, yeah. So it might be a good idea to use the mud, because I can't really think of anything else that would be eco-friendly that we'd want to be using. So if we go on organic, wood is too climbable. It's just going to be our organics, really. At which point, it's just bamboo, which is very climbable, or mud. So yeah, I think we're going with another mud wall. So what I want to do is just get the area that we need from our habitat. And I would like to have it come out of here. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a wooden habitat gate coming off of this path, if possible. Even if we do have like a ramp down, that might be the best way actually. Is have a 4 meter path that extends down. Okay, we've got this little area for our keepers to go through now. So if we move these benches to the other side of this, there's a little entrance here, and we can make this a staff path here. So only the keepers will go down this bit. And now we can put a wooden habitat gate in. We might as well use them. Although they are technically climbable, but they're not going to be open and it doesn't really matter. And it still fits the theme, so I'd rather we use wood. And let's put this in here. And then we're going to be using 4 meters, or multiples of 4 for the barrier, because I want it to align to the construction pieces we have. So I'm going to set out an area with the null barriers. So if the requirement is 705 meters squared for the Amur Leopard, I think we're going to want to double that just to make sure we're building it as ethically as possible and give them 1,410 meters squared per habitat. And I want to join these habitats up so that they can use the full space if they are together breeding. So I'm going to use the null barriers now just to map out the area I want the habitat to be. Okay, so we've gone a little bit bigger, but this is just over 1,400 and this is 1,800. So they've got a little bit of extra space here, but I'd rather give them that than not have enough. So I think this is good enough. And the one with the slightly bigger one could be when there's a baby in here, if there's a single baby, because I believe they have 1 cub, although I'm not actually sure. They actually give 2 cubs, so it's probably a good thing it's a little bit bigger. So if there are 2 juveniles in here as well, yeah, so if there was 1 adult and 2 juveniles, it would be 800 meters squared they want. So we'd be looking at like 1,632 square meters. So I think this habitat here, the slightly bigger one, is better for the female, and then the solitary male can live in this one over here. I think that's absolutely fine. We just need to make sure they can't see the Dama Gazelle. And the Dama Gazelle can't see them, because that would freak them out quite a lot, I think. And we've got a new challenge to breed a new habitat animal, so we can get on that. That's absolutely fine. That's pretty much what the zoo is about. Now we've got this in, I do want to change this fence here to be null barrier as well. And then we can look at getting our barriers in. So for that, I'm going to be using the organic mud pieces, as I said. We can always use bamboo to decorate the outside of it, though, and make it interesting, if it will go. I think the standard bamboo color would look better than the painted one with the mud. But let's give it a go. So it needs to be 3 meters tall. So these 4 meter mud pieces are probably the best ones we have. And honestly, we may not even need a windowed side to this. because the perfect thing about this side is the guests are going to be able to see over the wall anyway. We could even make it 3 meters tall, because I believe it just needs to be 3 meters, and maybe that's better. Yeah, taller than 3 meters, so we just need a 3-meter wall. I think let's do that. We can use the mud pieces and make an interesting 3-meter wall piece. And for that, I'm gonna basically use an outline here. So we've got this one. This is why I wanted to use the 4-meter barrier pieces, the null barrier pieces, because now we have a grid that this is gonna perfectly snap to the grid if we want to build. So everything will be nicely contained in here. And I'm gonna build up one wall piece that I like, and then use this as an example to duplicate around the whole habitat. There we go. So I've got this design for the kind of solid walls they're not going to be able to scale. So this is the inside of the habitat here. It's just a solid wall, they won't scale. And then this one here with the glass. In fact, I'm going to move the glass panel all the way back so that it is right at the back here and they can't really get a footing. I think that's probably a bit better. Because we don't want them to be able to jump out of the habitat, do we? And then this is the front, so it looks a bit more interesting. Because this is kind of a windowed side if our guests do want to see through. And they're going to be able to see over. I have put this on, but then I thought the big windows, they'd be able to see through from this angle anyway. So hopefully they still get a good view of them from this side. But even if they don't see the male as well, they've got this amazing view here of the female's habitat. So I'm sure they will get a perfectly adequate view of them generally. And if it's a massive problem when it's fully built, I might just change the top of these so that it's something that's less like tall. In fact, I may do that anyway. I don't want to obstruct them. So I'm thinking if we put in something that's a bit smaller. In fact, I've just taken the bamboo off. I think I might keep them as smaller walls because I like the look of this. But functionally, I think it might be a little bit distracting and might get in the way of them seeing the actual animals. So I'm going to put these in as they are and see what it looks like. And then if we need to do any adjustments, we will. But I think this should be fine. So what I can do now is I can delete these, actually. We don't need these anymore, or just delete the roofs. And then these are the easy reference points to just like drag, and then you can duplicate these, and we've got them here as like a solid design. So very easy to use. Okay, I think that's a reasonable habitat. I'm gonna have to see what it's like. The terrain is so uneven, but I kind of like that for the leopards. I think they'll enjoy that. So I'm gonna get rid of these two that we used to build everything. And we've got our two habitats in here. This can be a kind of door here. And I actually need to take these off, the leopards. I don't think we need them every block, but, you know, every couple is good. I think it looks nice to have them on there, seeing as it's actually them as well. There we go. That looks fine to me. And then we've got nice windowed on all the sides where the guests are going to be. And it's nighttime, so you can't see a thing. There we go. You can even see them from this viewing area, which is pretty cool. So let's actually get some and put them in there. It's the only way to really test it, to see if they can do well in the habitat. So we've got a few here to choose from. There's only one female, and I don't actually think we have enough credits right now for this female. Oh, we do. It's 365, and let's get the female, because can we afford them and the male? There's 0% immunity. Ideally, we'd get this male, but I don't think we can afford both of them. So we may have to release one of our other animals into the wild to be able to get them. Let's have a look at who we can release. In fact, I mean, our elephants are a pretty good shout, but I think all of the females here are pregnant, so we're not going to be able to release any of them. Do we have any babies that we don't know about? Oh, we've had a Dama gazelle mature. Oh, okay. Let's move this male into our little male section over here. In fact, do we have any other Dama gazelle males? I'm going to pause the game. Who else has grown up? It's just that one, I think. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then our turtles are still babies. Okay. Well, at the least, we want to be breeding animals that are actually good, you know, genetically. So I think let's get this male. He seems pretty reasonable. I don't really like this female doesn't have good immunity, so I don't think we should be breeding with her particularly. Let's grab this male, and we can send him into quarantine. And yeah, we don't have enough conservation credits for the other female as well, but that's fine. We'll move him to quarantine, and we can at least get the male in here. And then the female's habitat we can deal with when we have a female. Let's paint this all to be long grass as well. Now the doors I haven't designed up on these habitats, but we do need to do that. So let's put in something for the doors. I think that works, you know. That's simple, but it's effective, I think. Oh, this is not right here as well. These are all going to have to be moved down. I didn't realize that. Because they're much too tall. Okay, I think that's a bit better. And our Amur Leopard has passed quarantine, so let's move them into this habitat. I'm going to call this one Amur Leopard male. And this one is going to be Amur Leopard female. And we've got the inspector arriving at the zoo. Well, that's good. What could go wrong? Looks like they're looking at the black rhinos, the Bornean elephant, the tapir and the otter, and the turtles and the gazelle. That's a reasonable group. I think those habitats are doing quite well. And the view here, I think, is pretty reasonable as well. Like, the wall is a bit higher on this side, but you can definitely, where the land dips down, you can definitely get a good view over here. So I think that's good. Oh, we've got a male that's about to mature as well. I think I'm going to move this one into our male habitat, because if they're going to mature, we're going to need them to be in the right place where they can be an adult male, not fighting with Kevin constantly. Oh, it looks like our leopard's here as well. Oh my goodness, look at them. Look at that face. Wow. That is a majestic beast. Right, before they go exploring too much, let's just check they can't get out of here. So if I click on habitat and have them selected, they can jump out here. So that means it's a jumpable escape point here, which really it's just this one wall piece that needs to be slightly higher up. Which is very doable. Do something like that. What about now? Okay, they're fully contained in here. That's pretty cool. And the walls seem to be the right height, so I think that's pretty reasonable for the barriers. And it does need to be put into our work zone. That's what all these alerts are. So we're going to put this into... Well, we really should get a new work zone. I think we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to put it into the Africa work zone. These poor keepers. I'm actually going to hire another keeper as well, because I feel like we really need them at this point, and put them into the Africa work zone. I'm also going to train everyone up. And yeah, see, they can see them. That's awesome. I am going to move some of these benches because I don't think we need quite this many. And at least we can free up some of these zones over here for viewing. Especially actually as these aren't as much viewing areas for the elephants. I'm going to move the benches onto this side. I think that's a good idea. And I'm going to swap these bins around. So the donation bins are on this side. I think that's pretty cool. And the mechanic can't reach this. Okay, yeah, fine. Let's put it into maintenance 2. So they can maintain the gates. And this is not the right terrain for these guys, and they need climbing areas. So let's have a lot less long grass and a lot more soil. That's what it's looking like, and some more rock. In fact, I'm also thinking maybe we can give them a bit more of a hill in the middle here, because they like climbing enrichment, and I feel like this will give them a bit more fun. Okay, I think that's good, because they can still see to the back there, and I want to put a little shelter in the back here for them that's quite private. But they're going to need more soil. That's what I was doing. I got distracted with the hill. Right, let's give them a kind of rocky hill and then some soil around it. I think that's pretty cool. I think they should be happy with that. And the perfect thing is they're happy with 100% snow. So if it snows, you don't have to worry about them at all, which is awesome. Now they're going to need some hard shelter. And for this, we could use these buildings that I quite like the roofs for. So I think I'm going to do that. Although it will be climbable, it's the only thing. I may have to use a solid wall of mud instead on the side, or something else. We could use rock here. It's just not very sustainable. And I don't think they have anything. If we go by theme, I don't think we've got much. Yeah, there's no East Asia building pieces or anything. So we've not really got much that we can use. So what we may do instead is incorporate the hard shelter into the climbing enrichment. So if we filter on habitat by species, and here we want the Amur Leopard, it'll tell us all of the climbing enrichment and the shelters and everything that they can use, as well as their enrichment, which we obviously need. I think let's give them some cool climbing enrichment, and hopefully in that, have they got any beds and shelters they can use? Yes. So we've got these shelters we can incorporate that are wood, and we'll give them everything they need, basically. Okay, I think that's quite a lot of climbing enrichment. Let's see what they say. Yeah, 178 is quite a lot for them. And they got plenty of hard shelter now as well. So let's put some shelter in for them, like some bedding, to turn these shelters into actual beds. And then I think let's put some enrichment around for them too. I think for enrichment, let's put a block of frozen fish on this platform here, because I think that'd be pretty cool. And then I do want to make sure we put in a food. Oh, it's a food tray. I wasn't sure if it was a feeding platform for these guys. So actually, maybe the food tray is better off here instead of the fish. I think instead of the fish, let's put a large food tray on here. And then that will hopefully be a bit better. Is it a weird angle? Oh, it's because this whole thing is slightly slanted. Okay, well, that's not good. Yeah, I think that works. And this is all on a slant anyway, so they can navigate that on their turns. I think that's kind of fun for them though, if anything, that it's slightly wonky. That works. And then we've got the food tray in. Let's put some actual enrichment. We are going to need some water too. And I'm thinking maybe we put another water source over here. It's whether they'll want it, because again, these animals don't really swim, as far as I'm aware. At least they don't have any requirement for it. But I think leopards do normally swim. So if I want to put a water treatment in, ideally I just whack it down here. Like that's logically where you'd put it, like under the path or something. However, it has a negative impact on guests for some reason, so they're not going to be happy about that. So I'm going to have to try and put it over here, I think. And it could be at a higher level. Like I could elevate it up to be at this level, which I think I'm going to need to do. And then put like a path that runs along the top of the habitat just for our keepers. It's just not really ideal, but I think it will be fine. I think we can make it work. Okay, this is an unusual setup, but I think it kind of works. And it does give us water treatment and also power around here, which is kind of useful. So I know we've got power here, but it's even more power for this whole area. So we can definitely put some education in. And now we can easily get some water in here. And we don't have to have loads of water, but I'm thinking we could even just push in. I mean, this area at the back could just be a little pool for them. They might like that. Just have a little bit of a swim. If they want one, but at the very least they can have some drinking water. Let's see how they feel about it, and also see if they can get out now I've changed all the barriers around. Okay, they cannot get out. And do they like the water? They're probably not super bothered, but they've still got plenty of land area and so much climbing space. I think they're pretty happy. And it is a little paddling pool that they can splash around in. In fact, if we smooth this out a little bit, I think they'll be able to access a bit more of it as well. We can raise the water up a little. I think that's pretty good. And can you access everything? You can. They can swim in it if they want. And it should be nicely a good temperature for them. I think it should be 20 degrees. Yeah, that's what we like. 20 degrees and clean and fully powered. Now we do need to throw these into the maintenance 2 work zone. And that's getting quite a lot. I do think we're kind of getting to the point where we might need a maintenance 3 work zone, but I'm not going to do that right now. This seems good for them for now, and they're going to want some actual enrichment items. So let's put a blood scent marker in over around there. Maybe a block of frozen fish up here for the guests to watch them eat. And we can have a cardboard box because they love the cardboard boxes. And what else? They've got another toy. Well, let's give them some rubbing bark right here. And then maybe a pronghorn or a zebra. Let's give them a zebra. It's easier to see from the back. They can attack the zebra pinata. That's probably enough for them. Oh, we could give them a rotation line feeder. That's quite cool. Maybe we should do that up here. That would be quite cool, actually, to watch. I don't want to mess up our terrain, though, and it does want flat ground. So maybe that is just down here. How do they feel? I mean, they're super happy. It's just the quality of the food that they're not 100% on. And they have no plants, which obviously they're going to need. So, you know, have a nice little poop on the plants. So we're going Asia, temperate. To be honest, temperate plants from Asia is probably our best bet because we are living in a temperate biome. So it's going to be the easiest ones to grow for us. And we're about to have a baby deer. Oh my goodness, we're about to have a baby deer. That is amazing. I love our little deer. Are you pooping? Oh my goodness. Why is it whenever I zoom in on an animal, it poops? Oh, they're sitting down. I think they're about to have the baby. Oh, there they are. Oh my goodness. Look at them. That is the cutest little deer I've ever seen. Oh my goodness. That's adorable. Absolutely adorable. Wow. Oh. And we're bringing these guys back from extinction. Isn't that cool? Oh, that's a very cute little cry for the mum. It's okay, you can go in the water too. You just gotta follow your mum in. Can they swim? I guess they can. Look at the mum showing them to go into the water and the dad's already there. Very cute. Oh no. Okay, just go through your child. Having a little swim with their dad. Adorable. Absolutely adorable. And this game is beautiful. We've also got a vending machine broken down. Oh my goodness. I think someone sabotaged this whole area. Let's request the mechanic. And let's also replace that. Why are we getting so much crime? I wonder if we need more security guards. We've only got the one right now. I'll tell you what. I'm going to hire another security guard. Patrol the whole zoo, please. And we could, at that point, put them in maintenance zone. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put this one in maintenance zone 1, maintenance 1, and the new one in maintenance 2. And that way they can kind of patrol the whole of the zoo, but they've got a territory marked out, and they're not just patrolling the same areas. They got one half of the zoo each. What do our guests think of everything? I mean, it's pretty positive reviews. Lots of damaged things, but other than that, they're spending quite a lot. The average ATM withdrawal is $90. That's crazy. And they all donate $50 on average. They must love it here. Let's give this little guy some trees, I think, because otherwise this habitat looks a little bit dull. So of all of the Asian temperate plants in the game, these are the subset of plants that are found in this animal's natural habitat, which I'm saying for the purposes of this habitat is temperate China. That's the habitat that we're trying to replicate here. And of those subset of trees and plants, this is the subset that can feasibly be grown in temperate North America, where this zoo is, with a little bit of extra love and attention. So this is the list of plants we're going to be using for this habitat. And let's dive right in. I think that looks so much cooler now we've got some trees in here. It really brings the whole place to life, doesn't it? And he looks pretty happy. We're going to need a name for this little guy. Look at him, just waking up on a new day. But seeing as a new day is dawning, I think I'm going to call it here for this video, and we'll continue the habitat in the next one. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps the channel out. And I'll see you in the next one.